I'll let you in on a little secret. This recipe is called Mama's Meatloaf, but this ain't your mama's meatloaf. I'm telling you right now, this is the best meatloaf you'll ever have. It's super easy to make too. You need 2 pounds of ground beef. Then we'll add in about half a cup of diced onion. Then of course with meatloaf, you gotta stretch it out with 1 cup of dried breadcrumbs, or you can cheat and add a little more. Then half a cup of milk and 1 large egg. Add 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce for all that flavor. And don't worry, I have been corrected on how to pronounce that so many times, I actually still don't even know how to say it because everyone corrects me with a different way. It might be Worcester sauce. I don't know. We're gonna add some seasoning. We have a teaspoon of basil, oregano, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and then I always add half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes for a little kick. And then last, a teaspoon of salt. And then listen, some people get grossed out. You could use a spoon if you wanted to. You could put on gloves, but I'm gonna do it the old-fashioned way, like Mama and Grandma used to do, and use my hands. So you just get in there and knead it all together, which basically just means squishing it all around until it seems mostly mixed up. And then you just kind of scoop it into a ball and then put it into a lightly greased 9x13 pan. You can cook this in a bread pan like they used to do, but it traps the grease in, and honestly, I do not love that. I'd rather have the grease spread out a little bit so that you can get more of that like fatty goodness that caramelizes a little more in the oven instead of just sits there and swims. This is just called a free-form loaf, and you just kind of squish it and shape it however you'd like. I've even made this into a little zombie hand on Halloween. Then we're gonna bake this in a 350-degree oven for 45 minutes. Then, of course, every good meatloaf needs a good glaze, and mine's pretty simple, but it's pretty tasty too. It's just half a cup of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and then 1 tablespoon of that Worcestershire sauce. Whisk it together until that brown sugar is dissolved, and then we'll pull our meatloaf out at 45 minutes and just brush on that glaze. I just used the back of the spoon. Not really a brush, but I didn't want to get it dirty. Then you're gonna crank up the heat to 400 degrees, and we're gonna pop this back in the oven for 15 minutes until the ground beef is cooked through and that topping caramelizes just a little bit. Pull it out of the oven, and then this is not gonna be graceful at all, but I just grabbed 2 spatulas to pull it out and put it onto a fancy little serving platter. And there you have it. It's not your mama's meatloaf.